Hello and welcome to an exclusive topic today of resilience, adversity and humanity. Let's talk about it with SABIA KHATUN here on Vod Talk. I would like to say a quote, a very, very meaningful and touching one that gives out the message as truly as it can. I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who it is for or against. I am a human first and foremost, and as such, I am for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. Now, could there be any more resilience faced in a systematic, controlled, occupied state? How is this having an impact on humanity? And what kind of resilience are being faced by people around the world? Mental resilience, emotional resilience, social resilience, physical resilience. Just a few examples of humanity in the world. Today, we will talk about the resilience, the adversity, and humanity. What does it mean and feel to live in a bombarded zone? And the ultimate journeys, the campaigns, and the challenges. I am honored to be joined by guests from Gaza and the West Bank in Palestine. I'd like to take everyone over to my guest. My very first guest is none other than Ahmed Elqattawi. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. And I'd like to say a little bit about what Ahmed does. He is a business English mentor based in Gaza. He's also a Palestinian writer and activist, and he holds an English degree in language and literature. Now, he helps freelancers with English, and I will take you over to Ahmed just to say a greeting to everyone before we elaborate on more detail what it involves that he does. So welcome to my show, Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Sabia, for hosting me.
Thank you for joining us. I'd like to take everyone over to my next guest. Her name is Abeer Abuzayed. I hope I've pronounced that correctly.
Yeah.
And she is a social entrepreneur, but based in West Bank of Palestine. Now, we are told that she's a trailblazer for women. So I think I am really, really interested to find out what that involves, because I think I want to leave that for Abeer to tell us all, because there is so much about, herself that, what she does about innovative social entrepreneurships and international businesswoman, who became a businesswoman before the age of 30, I was told. So firstly, I'd like to welcome Abeer. So hello, Abeer.
Hi, and thank you so much for hosting me.
Thank you for joining. I am really, really privileged. That takes me on to my next guest, and her name is Dalia Shurrab. And she is also a social entrepreneur based in Palestine, Gaza. But she's a serial entrepreneur, which deals with things like content marketing experts and social media management. And she's a specialist based in Gaza. And we will hear how she can contribute to the country in relation to how she helps other women, with entrepreneurships and, many other skills. So, again, I'd like to take everyone over to Dalia, and welcome to my show. Can't hear you, Dalia.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you for joining us. And last but not least, we haven't forgotten our other guest. His name is Aziz Abuzayed, and he's a writer, teacher in Palestine, and he's living there. And I was told he's living there as a refugee, correct me if I'm wrong. And he will tell us about the organization he works with and how he is involved with, being a volunteer and trying to make a difference in people's lives. And he is trying to pursue a career in international relations to amplify the Palestinian narrative. So without further ado, welcome to my show, Aziz.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you all. And I know I've given a very brief introduction, which doesn't do justice for what you all do over there. But what I would like to do is I'd like to first take everyone over to Ahmed, who I'd like, Ahmed, if you could share with us, what does it mean and feel to live in a bombarded zone for yourself? If you could share and talk us through your journey from how, you had seen it, in your childhood to, what it is that you are facing to this day. If you could share that with us. So over to Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Sabia, first for hosting me. And I'm really glad actually to be on this platform, amplifying my voice as Palestinian to make it heard, by the rest of the world. So living in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has actually been really difficult for a youth like me, who is now like 26 years old and who has been living in an open air prison for the rest of his life. I have never been able actually to leave the Gaza Strip, because of the blockade imposed on Gaza by the Israeli occupation. So every 2 or 3 years, we are witnessing and going through, an Israeli aggression. And that aggression, is really making our life like miserable, like year after year. Because, if you are thinking about it, you will see like for yourself, like how many homes have been, destroyed and demolished, how the kids are traumatized after each aggression, how, the hospitals and schools and mosques and every other, infrastructure facility is a target, for bombardment. So to me, I have been living in this agony, and it has affected my own life, badly, because each time I walk in the streets, like it reminds me of what happened and what has been happening, for the past 15 years. It brings a lot of memories of being, under the threat of unsafety and uncertainty, So sometimes most of my friends are living overseas, wishes me to stay safe. And then I take a pause and I try to explain to them what should be the right answer for staying safe. So to me, if I want to explain the word safe, what it means in Gaza, it's like, safe does not mean really safe in Gaza Strip, because the word safe loses its meaning, So if somebody wishes me to stay safe, I would say, well, I'm still alive so far, or I'm still having a roof, above my head, or I haven't been dissipated yet, but I'll probably be killed soon. Or let's wait until the morning and then check on me again, and maybe I can tell you if I'm alive or not. So I'll be betraying the word safe if I said I am safe, which, in fact, I know for a fact that I'm not safe, because in Gaza, you never know if you will be safe or not. So it's left to decide. It's left to fate to decide, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll come back to you on that as well, Ahmed. If I can ask Abeer, following on to what Ahmed was saying, in your role as well as in your personal life, is there anything you could add on to that? And also, can you share with us anything else that, I'm not expecting to hear anything like too different, but what is it and how is it for you? Are those situations and feelings very similar? Or is there something else that is going on that you could add on to that? Please feel free to share.
Yeah, sure. Sure, yes. Actually, due to occupation, I lived as a refugee in a camp in Jordan for 12 years. And it was very difficult experience to live in a refugee camp, lacking all the resources that you need as a kid. For example, starting from the education to getting quality education, and also living in a place where it's the least thing that you expect to like guarding around your home, it's not exist. Living in a refugee camp, it was really so difficult for me as a kid, and still the rest of my relatives, they are still in this camp. So for example, I start with or let me tell you more about that experience. So I lived in refugee camp, and I born in refugee camp for 12 and grow in that camp for 12 years. I never left that camp. Then I moved to live in Gaza for 1 year, and it was like what Ahmed mentioned, it was like a prison. And then I moved to live in Hebron, where it's a place where is there all the time there is like tents there. So there is settlers living with you, and they might attack you in any time. They might attack your home. They might attack your garden. They might attack your car. So it was so difficult. And even I lived the incursion on that happened in my city or in my village, when I was in the secondary school. I still remember when my family was and my brothers, just sleeping under the bed, because we are so afraid that the guns or the people or the soldiers will come to our home, and they will kill any one of us. So it was so difficult experience. And when I grew up, when I went to the university, this occupation and these movement restriction affected on even my opportunity as a young person to get job opportunities, because even moving from one city to another city, it was so difficult, because there is restriction on the movement. There is checkpoints that they might kill you at any moment when you cross these checkpoints, if they suspect any movement for you. So, and that's effect on my family. My family become more protective. They want to protect me. They don't accept for me to go for another city to get job opportunity, and that's also limited the economic opportunities in my current city. So there is a very high unemployment rate here among young people and among women. Now, the other thing that I want to say, I moved to study in the UK, and Sabia, I want to share something with you, that even when I studied in the UK, I still have the same nightmare all the time, that I woke up at the night just feeling that the soldiers came to my home. They want to take me. And when I asked my other colleagues in Gaza about that, they said, all of us having the same nightmare all the time with us, even when we moved outside. So it's effect on me as a woman. It's effect on me as a young person. It's effect on me as an entrepreneur as well. I'm still facing difficulties to get or to travel outside because of the occupation, because what we suffer from it.
Yeah. We will come on to find out what kind of suggestions we can address to find out some of these emotional, mental, physical, social, states that everyone, including yourself, are going through. I can't imagine, but it's all there, and how you deal with it. Yes, I will come back to you on that, Abeer. If I can ask Aziz, the connection of living as a refugee, please share, your living experience as that refugee. But what's amazing to know is that you're a writer and a teacher. And what will be interesting for us to find out from you is what has motivated you to start the journey to become the person who you are.
Well, Sabia, the thing is, when you talk about refugee all over the world, people imagine that someone is being displaced from their home, leaving their country because of a political situation that will go away in a couple of few years. But when you're talking about a Palestinian refugee, you're talking about more than 70% of the Palestinian population in Gaza. You're talking about 50% of the Palestinian population in Jordan. You're talking about the majority of the Palestinians in the West Bank. And even inside of the state of Israel, there are the Palestinians who have been internally displaced from their homes, from their villages, and have been put like canton like or ghetto like residential areas. So when you're talking about the Palestinian refugee crisis, it's ongoing. And when me and Abeer and many people are born refugees in Gaza and in the five major refugee camp areas in the Arab world, like in Jordan, in Lebanon, in Syria, West Bank, and Gaza, you imagine how much trauma is invested or is like growing day after day, year after year. And this reflects on what Abeer said: educational opportunities, travel problems, the kind of services that you get from being in a refugee camp. Sometimes they are humiliating to be in a refugee camp and having to go to a clinic or having to go to get a food stamp or whatever. So this kind of experience that a Palestinian refugee goes through, it cannot be summarized in 2 hours or 5 days even. So it's ongoing. You are born a refugee. Your father was born a refugee, and your grandfather is still carrying the pain that came with being displaced, with losing their homes, with losing their identity, and having it the least to say is scrambled with other identities inside of Palestine.
Yeah. What can I say? It's a fragile territory, by the sound of things. And what I want to actually hear something from Dalia is, being faced with all these challenges, what do you suggest from the professional role that you're playing? Obviously, specifically, you will tell us the area that you would like to, speak to us about today. But what do you suggest in these challenging times and moments, that how you go about your everyday? And hearing from Ahmed, Abeer, and Aziz, you step out, you don't know what's going to happen. It's like you're ready, you're prepared that, something, a bomb may be dropped, or, whether you see the next second or the hour, knowing that physically something is happening, or being in this bombardment zone. Dalia, if you could share with us, about your role there as a professional and your personal role. How are you facing these challenges?
So I would say that when a Palestinian born, he will find the challenges, even if he's like incapable of expressing his feelings or asking for needs or something like that. I was born in Saudi Arabia, and while I was a child, I have been treated in a very ugly way, because I am Palestinian, like other nationalities, Arabian nationalities, treated with me like you have to go back to your country and to fight the occupation, and you shouldn't be here with us and things like that, and you are not welcome here. And when I came back to Gaza 1991, so I've witnessed so many wars. I've witnessed the Gulf War, and I've moved to Gaza, and I witnessed the First Intifada. I've witnessed the peace duration, and I've witnessed the three wars. And I don't know if it's cool to say it, or if it's really right to say it, that fortunately I didn't witness the last one, the last war on Gaza, because I moved with my husband to Jordan. And from my position here, and from the duration that I stayed in Gaza, I've learned something, that each time we have been challenged as Palestinians, we create a great future. We create a solution. I was working with one of the the international organizations in Gaza, and the first obstacle that we faced were the list of funding and the lack of funding. So we found another solution for creating this, for keeping this program open, and we started a crowdfunding campaign. So many people said that you are in Gaza, you will gain nothing. People will not pay for you or give you funds. But we successfully collected $300,000.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Amazing.
we created a sustainable program who encourages entrepreneurs, women, young leaders to keep learning and to keep the cycle goes on. And on the second, we found that we need to move because our audience is really growing and we need a bigger place. So we faced the funding the funding problem again and again. So we created a sustainable solution with like asking and sending proposals to governments and the governmental counselors who are staying in Palestine. And now we have millions of funds. So we have we like expand the area of the people who can benefit from our services by creating a program for entrepreneurs, a program for freelancers, a program for coders to teach coding for people, to create for them an opportunity to find a job online. Because the only open gate for Gazans is the internet. So we are going to use this open gate very to benefit from it and to make people to benefit from it as well.
Yes.
For go ahead.
I mean, I can't imagine that, all of this was possible. Obviously, from what we see, we're, I don't want to say we feel that we're losing hope on, being abroad, but it's so much of a peace of mind. I mean, if I can say for myself, and I'm sure our viewers, will probably feel that that's amazing. If that is happening and, you're staying strong and firm, you are facing those challenges and you're keeping on going. I mean, do we sit in despair and do nothing? Well, from what you are all saying, you're all taking some sort of action. You are doing, and you are putting yourself out there to create some change. You mentioned, with the limited like internet time. Ahmed, could you tell us about? I mean, I know I'm hearing that you all have like limited like internet time, electricity, and things like that. Could you tell us a bit about, what are those limitations and how are you working around those? And I mean, it won't be fair to say that is it affecting you all, but how is it that you're dealing with all of that limitation?
Yeah, asking that a question, Sabia, and I think it's really affecting our life miserably because every single device on the Gaza Strip like is running on electricity, especially like the hospitals and education institutions and even at home. And because of COVID-19, right now we are working from home using our laptops and we need internet. So during the latest aggression, I didn't have internet for almost 5 days because the Israeli occupation targeted the internet transmitter from the residential towers that were in the Gaza Strip, and right now they are all flattened to the ground. So it was really important for me to connect, with my institutions that I'm working with other people from overseas, with my friends in Gaza through the internet. And the electricity is coming only for 4 hours, so we need to wait almost for 20 or 16 hours per day until we have it back again. And during that time, we have I myself have a battery. I connect my internet and I also charge my laptop while the power is off. But sometimes it's not enough, and sometimes my battery also runs out before the electricity comes again. So it's really like a struggle, and sometimes you even leave your home to actually go to a cafe and work from there, and maybe you can go back home in a late. Sometimes you come back at home like at night late. So it has been really really ugly to actually keep depending on an unstable a schedule like this. So yeah, it has been really infuriating for me.
Mm-hmm. Abeer and Aziz, could you add something onto that? I mean, how are you going about each day with what it is that you're doing? And again, with these limitations, I don't know if Abeer wants to go first.
Sure. Actually, let me talk about this as an entrepreneur. So actually, I created business to give opportunities for young people in Palestine and in Gaza. And we always face challenges to make that happen. I mean, sometimes to convince a client to work with people in Palestine because they know that we are under conflict. Or we are occupied, and there is all the time not stability. So they always asking about the infrastructure. And what I want to say that usually my team members, they always amazed me, and they inspired me to complete this journey despite that it's so difficult. So, for example, in 2014, when Gaza has attacked in 2014, I have team members. They were working on a project with Dubai, and we fight it to get this project, and we work very hard on that. So once the attack started, my team members were under the attack, and some of them they were very in very dangerous situation. So at this moment I felt that you know what we can do. I was just crying, trying to find solution, but what I can do in this tough moment. But what inspired me that my team members called me and Abeer, they said, Abeer, if we still survive till tomorrow, we will deliver the project on time. Then I just said, you know what? I can't just give up now. I need to work more on finding solution. So when you see those people, they are very resilient. They want this opportunity. Actually, they are very hungry for opportunities, you know. So you say you don't have any other options. You need to succeed, and that's it. So, so what I want to say that we have difficulties to convince clients. We have difficulties to travel to see clients, and we have a difficulty in infrastructure. We know, all of us know that. But what I know, on the other hand, that we have a brilliant, talented people who really hungry for opportunities, for you know, building their own future. And what we need to do now is to support them, you know, because that's the future for Palestine and for Palestinian. We never give up, and we all the time. The occupation destroyed the things that we built, and then we, you know, just get up or try again and build again. So it's a process. It's a frustration process, but we don't have any other option. We need to we want to live. We are very resilient, and we all the time find alternatives like Dalia told us. We all the time bring innovative solution to find solution for our problems, for electricity, for the internet, and even for not having opportunity to connect and to travel outside.
Yes. I am actually admiring your bravery in getting up every morning and getting on with the next day, not knowing, what is going to be like, in that bombardment zone. Aziz, as a writer and a teacher, and being living as a refugee, what contribution do you feel that, even though you're doing, that you could be doing more? And bearing in mind that, all I'm thinking is, how, is it safe for you to go out to go and get your daily groceries, to eat? Is there enough shops out there? We feel here, sitting here on the other side, thinking, are there any shops, where we don't see shops, and things like that. So just the basic human rights, tell us a bit about that.
Well, I can speak first from my position as a refugee who were born and raised in a refugee camp, such as Abeer, but in Rafah refugee camp. In refugee camps, there would be many shops, many small grocery shops for people to shop at. This is not the problem that we're facing. The problem that we're facing is the blockade that has been going on against Gaza since 2007 and still going. Now, when you're talking about a blockade that has been going on for 14 years and counting, you're talking about prohibited items like hair combs, like certain kinds of foods, like mobile batteries, things that Israel says that can be used in a double way or different ways for resistance. But they don't make sense. When you're talking about prohibiting flour and rice from entering Gaza, that doesn't make sense to you as a human being, but to them as occupiers, it certainly makes sense somehow. But the thing is, in Gaza, when you're walking in the streets, when you're shopping, when you are going in like common markets, you will find people with bachelor degrees, master's degrees, and even PhDs selling on the street. People who have no job opportunities, like Dalia and Abeer said, people who had studied or grabbed any opportunity for education that they could, but the only thing they could find as work is to have like a falafel shop or a small market by the corner on this in their street, or maybe some people converted one of the house rooms into a shop so that they could make a living. Now, these little stories is what we are trying to emphasize and accentuate for the international audiences. Now, we are not numbers, the group of writers that I work with. We are trying to grab these stories and put them in a way that the foreign and Western readers could read and like try to grasp what it means to be living in Gaza. We are trying to focus on both the happy stories and the sad stories, so that people could understand that Gaza is not a it is a prison, but it's a place that we don't want to live in. It's our home. It's like what Abi said. We have no choice. We have to live there. We have to keep resilient, and we have to keep telling the world what's going on, what's happening, where their tax money is going to, who are their government representatives supporting, and the kind of self-defense that Israel is claiming to do against our children, our workers, our youth, our men, women, everyone um, like is in the line of fire. Nobody is immune from Israeli attacks.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to like to say something here
Sure.
to continue on the same point that Aziz shared. When I have the chance, and I am one of the luckiest persons in Gaza. I have the chance to visit Germany. I have the chance to visit the US twice, and I have the chance to go to the West Bank cities and even inside the occupied lands. When I like participated in one of the programs for the U.S. Consulate, they asked me, and it's the stereotype that promoted by the Israeli occupation, that Gaza Strip is uncivilized area, and all the people who lives there are barbaric tribes, and they don't use transportation. And I was facing, like, during the trip, like, do you use cars? Do you know cars? Questions that it's a fact for me, and they are like asking
Offensive.
and questioning. Yeah, it's really offensive. And when one of the ladies, she was from Kenya, and she said to me, Dalia, I used to hate the firm Gaza because it's related, and it's like the image of Gaza in my mind related to blood, related to barbaric tribes, related to people who are uncivilized and might drink blood. But when I saw you on the ground, you have changed my mind. I love Gaza, and I love being a Gazan, and I wish someday, I hope someday, to come and visit you inside Gaza. And this is the importance of the work that Aziz is doing, and Ahmed is doing, and Abeer is doing, and what I'm doing, presenting the human picture of Gazans. We are humans, just anybody else all over the world. We have the same interests, we have the same hobbies. For example, I love to sing, I love to play piano, and I want to play piano, but unfortunately, I didn't have the chance among the crowded place of Gaza to find my opportunity. But
Yeah.
we dig deep to inside earth, and we plant our hope seeds to because life is going on with us and without us. So we want to prove to all the world we deserve to live.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I think Dalia, the word now is knowing what it's mean to live in a blockade, especially after COVID-19. So they have some experience about what people in Gaza are suffering from, especially when they couldn't travel, when they couldn't go outside their homes, when they stay without knowing what is the future hide for them.
It's not comparable, but it gives them an idea.
Yes, exactly. Of course,
they're two very different things, but just as significant in its own way. We are coming almost to the end of our show, everyone. But what I would like to ask you all is, it's not enough within these few minutes that we have been discussing, but, it's been a privilege to hear a little part of your journeys of, your living experiences where you are, and, the amazing work that you're carrying out, the bravery you're stepping out to do. It's beyond me, I can't even imagine. But what I would like to ask you all is, just on your last final views and thoughts, is there something that you would like to pinpoint as a suggestion for peace that you feel, could realistically take place, ranging from campaigning to marches, from your background, what kind of suggestions would you give not only to the public, but to the world leaders out there and everyone else who are watching, this? What can we all do? What can world leaders do? Maybe what else can people who are being so resilient to where you are, the bravery is already there, Could you care to share with us? I'll start with Abeer.
Yeah, sure. So actually, the one thing that I think it's giving hope for Palestinian and giving opportunities for them. So especially for the young people in Palestine with a high rate of unemployment among them. So what I want to say, and that's recently what MENA Alliances, my company, launched recently, it's impact hiring for Palestine, which means it would help giving jobs for skilled Palestinian and professionals from Palestine to start working on these jobs, because that will be more sustainable way to support their resilience. And we stand for this resilience. So what I want to ask from the world is to give opportunities for the young people in Palestine by giving them opportunity to work, especially that we have a very high educated people in Palestine who really want that, and who really want to work, to have, first of all, to increase their income, especially after they lost a lot of their homes and they lost a lot of income sources. So if you want to support them, giving them jobs, giving them opportunities, and even it's not just from financially aspects, but also from mentally aspects. When those people having jobs, they have something. Yeah, they having something to to live for it. They will be more. They will looking for the future in better eyes, and that will support their resilience. So please, if you want to support Palestinian, give them opportunities to work. That will at least support them at the minimum,
Yeah, very, very important. Ahmed, if you'd like to add on for that.
Yeah. So adding to what Abeer said, I just like to say that Gaza is one also of the most educated areas. in the region, because the Gazans are really hungry for education and for knowledge and for learning skills and for trying to find hope despite the circumstances and despite the siege and despite the darkness. We are still finding hope through our education. So as much as we are learning, we are making way forward to better chances for ourselves, for our families, etc. And if I can just cite, an example for a very successful story from Gaza, I think we heard about Lu'ay al-Bastouni, who is the Palestinian from Gaza and who had made it from Gaza to Mars. He contributed and took part in flying a helicopter to, collect certain images from the life on Mars. And he was a Gazan from Palestine. So imagine if Gazans and Palestinians have been given the resources, to actually be into this, educational, environment. Imagine like where they can be in years. They will be like contributing to society, and they will be adding value to their community and even to the world like themselves. So in my opinion, if I want to suggest solutions, I think, yes, I agree with Abeer and with what she said. We need to support the youth. We need to hire them because they are really skilled in what they are doing and they can make a change on the world. But also, if I had one solution to advise for the leaders of the world to do, it has to be to put the pressure on your governments to lift, the siege on Gaza, to make, us live a decent life, to make us have the same universal human rights, the world is enjoying, out there, and to just, keep like making and organizing, organized, protesting and solidarity campaigns, to also keep raising awareness, because all of this is making a difference. It makes, the world like know more about Palestine, about what's happening, about what they can, take in terms of actions and calculated steps, towards like finding solutions for peace and stability in the region.
Yeah, thank you for that. Aziz, your last few views and thoughts on.
I would like to be a bit more optimistic and demanding from the world leaders and from the people of the world who are still free, who are still having some principles of freedom and humanity. Now, I believe that people should take it personal, because if they're not being subjected to this kind of oppression and occupation, they are in some way contributing to it. Being silent against the human rights violations in Palestine is being complicit with it. Being silent about their governments sending money, the UK government, the US government sending money and selling weapons and buying weapons from Israel that have been tested on human people, like we have been the test subjects of Israeli bombs that have been made in the UK, the US, and other parts of the world. Now, if you're silent, then you are contributing to the suffering of these people. And it's not only about us Palestinians; it's also about your people. If the people of any country in the world stay silent over what's happening in Palestine, they are saying that it's okay, that someday they will be subjected to the same. They will be in our position, and something is going to happen, and it's okay to stay silent about it. Now, we are not saying that we wish that on anyone, but we are praying that the people of the world can feel what it means to be fearing for your life day in and day out, to be fearing for your family. Even if you leave Gaza, even if you leave Palestine, you still have family, you still have loved ones, you still have friends that are living here, and you would still fear for their lives. You would still fear for the people losing their homes. One of my best friends had lost his home in an Israeli airstrike in the last aggression, and he had done nothing. He even was refusing to participate in boycott activities against Israel, fearing that something would happen to him, that some harm would come to his family because of his activity, his activism. And this is the myth that some Palestinians fall in, that if you don't hurt Israel in any way, you're not going to be hurt. And this is the same myth that most of Arabs nowadays in the Arab Gulf, in Bahrain, in UAE, and other Arab states are believing and falling victims to. If you don't hurt Israel, Israel is not going to hurt you. The same thing with most people in the world. And don't fall for the anti-Semitism traps, because we in Palestinian in the Palestinian struggle, we are also against anti-Semitism. We do not condone anti-Semitism, and we do not agree with it. But also we don't want it to be used as an excuse and a cover to whitewash the crimes that are being committed against us. Now we ask the people of the world, put yourselves in our shoes and imagine that your land is being stolen, your people are being killed, your friends are being tortured and imprisoned without charges. Imagine your borders and crossings are being closed and controlled by Israel. Now imagine yourself in that position. Would you want to be silent and stay silent over it? Just today and yesterday, Israelis have been attacking journalists and people in Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. They are still going on with their ethnic cleansing in Jerusalem and the West Bank, and their settlement building is expanding day in and day out. So it's going on without stop, with impunity. That the world is watching. Nobody's doing anything, and it's up to us to speak out. And we have also lost faith in the governments of the world. We have lost faith in the international community that talks about international laws, human rights, the Geneva Conventions. They have all been violated by Israel, and nothing has been done so far. Is this what we want our world to look like? Are we waiting for a third world war?
Thank you for that. Dalia.
I will be direct to the point. So to complete what my colleagues and the guests here, hiring Palestinians and talented people of Palestine, participating in building a strong education for Palestinians and people who lives in the refugee camps. Continue what Aziz said, participate in the world campaign by doing and make it clear for people to hear the true story and to know who are the victims and who are the crucial tribes. And one last thing, it's not last actually. It support entrepreneurs and invest in their projects. Start campaigns with big companies like PayPal, Payoneer, to push them to open their services for Palestinians, because it's prohibited for Palestinians, and it's open for the settlers who lives on the same land. Boycott the Israeli products and services. And one last thing, support the Palestinians, the Palestinian products by buying them and encourage them to be to have a sustainable resource of and economic stable.
Thank you so much. I mean, there are so many valid points there, and so many things that we can do, starting with solidarity campaigns. And you all have mentioned a few things there, which is can be done internationally, and there are some things which are being done on the grounds of Palestine that you want to encourage people to keep going. So thank you again so much. Thank you for making that time out. And I think we are truly blessed today, because I was expecting some internet blackouts to happen with you guys where you are, because of the limited times that you are given, the electricity suddenly going blackout. But I think I feel truly blessed that I have had this honor to have your company. And one day I do hope that we can all see each other and put all this behind us, and go forth that yes, we all have some sort of basic human rights and more. So thank you again for joining my show. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. So there we have, everyone. We have the true narrative from our guest from Palestine of what it is to be living there and having that lived time and experience. I'd just like to mention, going further on to some actions, that there are further demonstrations happening here in UK as well. I just want to give out to the viewers that I think there's something happening on Saturday, 12th of June, in Downing Street, organised by the Stop the War Coalition, Palestine Solidarity Campaign, Friends of Al-Aqsa, Muslim Association of Britain, Palestinian Forum in Britain. So yeah, there's some of the actions that we can take from what we heard from our guests. What I want to say is life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We become stronger and more resilient. And accepting your new reality, even if it's less good than the one you had before. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, to learn more, to do more and become more than that you have created, then you are a great leader. Remember that leaders are not born. They are made by hard effort and to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. So let your dreams be bigger than your fears, and your actions speak more than your words, and your faith stronger than your feelings of emotions, of any other state that you may be going through. Be the reason someone smiles, be the reason someone feels loved, and believe in the goodness of people. So until next time, this is SABIA KHATUN for VOD Talk. Stay safe and follow me on VOD Talk.